Give me a second. I got to try to make sure that I tweeted this tweeted out and that I shared it in Discord. It'll just take a second. All right. Okay. I think we're good. I love how I can still kind of click around without, when you go live from Twitter, if you try to click around, it'll end your live stream, but when you do Twitter Spaces, it'll stay open. So it's pretty cool. Also, it takes about 30 seconds to a minute for these things to really start, but yeah. Let me share one more time and then we'll get going. I don't even know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, you can. Okay. So let me see if I can switch to my other account. It should let me. Yeah, there we go. Oh, damn, we gained some subscribers. I don't know how that's possible. Almost done. Sorry. Almost done. Okay, now I gotta log back into my regular account. Stop it. Stop advertising to me, YouTube. Alright. There we go. Okay. So, let's see here. I don't know what I want to talk about or say. So I'm going to stream tonight, but I don't know what I'm going to do on stream. I might just go in blank, to be honest. But because I've had a long few days, I don't even think I'm going to talk about it, but bad few days dealing with family emergency, so it's as far as I'll go, I think. So while I kind of see what's up, it's so cool that I can actually look at Twitter. I'm trying to think of how I want to handle things before I go streaming. I might not handle things at all, but I'm just saying. And yeah. So let's just for a second talk about Twitter. Twitter has changed a little bit. Elon took over and people are tweeting things that they would normally get banned for, and they're not getting banned. So I do think that the Elon buying Twitter is going to be a pretty big thing if these kind of changes can happen so fast. Let me give you an example. Vanity Fair 5520, quote, Team Trump is going all in on its Chinese lab conspiracy theory. Vanity Fair 10/28/2022, evidence of alarming biosecurity issues at Wuhan, and new research concludes that a lab accident was most likely responsible. So anyway, I don't want to get into Trump. I don't want to get into the pandemic or any of that. What I think is the thing to kind of see about this is that it's almost, oh, look at this one, trans women. So if you go to this hashtag that's being suggested to me, which I don't think would have been suggested to me before Musk took over. Gee, we are not experiencing we're not accepting comments for this article. Gee, I wonder why. And it's Daily Mail attacking YouTube star does not, and not is in caps, want transgender competing in female sports. And real quick, I'm not going to talk about that topic either. I'm not going to talk about the topic of Trump and the pandemic, and I'm not going to talk about the topic of transgender people. What I'm going to talk about, the Daily Mail attacking a YouTube star for holding the opinion that sports should be men and women together without, with trans people being in the category they were born in. There we go. So I don't want to talk about those two things as comments. What I want to talk about really quick is how Twitter has changed. And those two topics for the last, from 2017 to now, so it would have been 5-6 years, we've all been censored heavily. And people have claimed that it's not true. And real quick, with basically this one change on Twitter, this one example on Twitter happening, it proves that we have been censored. And because of that, giving our opinion, if it doesn't fall in line where they want it to fall in line, equates to a shadow ban, if not a full-on ban. And the thing is, I don't even want to celebrate that, which I normally would. I don't even want to talk about that to an extent, because there's this thing in my head that is telling me you're crazy for thinking that it's going to change. You're crazy for thinking that we can be honest without being banned, without being shadow banned, without losing our business, without being canceled. Now, the cancel culture has stretched so far. Have you not noticed it? Have you not noticed how when someone isn't being racist, like look at AZ, T-Spiracy. Remember when they were sitting there trying to cancel her as racist in this small little area? And I don't want to talk about that specifically. It's just an example I want to use where T-Spiracy is being called a racist in all these tweets. And it's just a complete fucking lie, right? Where does that come from? It comes from this thing I just discussed, where for years you see that the media and the platforms are going to accept lies being used to cancel people and destroy people, right? Remember when Katie Joy just a week ago tried to label me a transphobe because she got mad at me for some reason, right? Using a complete lie to label me, just like with T-Spiracy, a lie to label her. And the people doing this are the most hateful people ever, and they have to be. Because any type of regular or any type of good person would instantly stop themselves and say, wait, I don't want to lie and try to get this person's life ruined or try to fuck this person's life up because I'm disagreeing with them on the internet. That's cringy and that's fucked up. Right? So you have to be a shitbag and a hateful person. I was just saying this when I was in this hash. I haven't used Twitter in like a week. And I was looking in the hashtags that popped up. And normally when I'd scroll down to the bottom of any conversation on Twitter, I'd end up seeing this little button that says, show more tweets that may contain controversy. You know what I'm talking about. It'll be at the very bottom. The very bottom when you scroll down. And if you click it, like for the last few years, you click that and you get an entire side of the argument that is basically not the norm. And then maybe sprinkled in is going to be like someone laughing or a meme or something. Like, here's an example. If your meme contains Peppy the Frog, they're going to put it under the controversial tweets. If you're laughing at somebody, like 3 laughing faces, I just saw 3 laughing faces underneath the controversial tweets. And my whole point is that the reason that these smaller communities that we've been kind of looking at in dealing with fraud raisers and in dealing with these types of targeted harassment campaigns that we've talked about, they are so brazen to do what they do, literally because of the censorship that's up the level above them, and the societally acceptable method that's up above them of lying on someone. Because when you do have a cancel culture structure built into the top, it's guaranteed that the dishonest base, not the honest base, but the dishonest base, will want to grab at that method and use that method. And so, without boring you, seeing how Twitter has changed so much just since Elon Musk took over. And I might as well give you a few of those changes real quick so that you can check me on it. So one of the changes is that if you go into the trending tab, the recommended trends for you now are more opened up towards controversial things. And when you click and look in, you end up seeing more of an algorithmic, a non-modified algorithmic serving of what you're looking for, as opposed to they'll throw out some of the, like, the algorithm is supposed to work. And by the way, this is the only way an algorithm can work at all in order to serve people effectively, is by showing you popular things. Not popular as in, this is what we want to be popular, yo, this is the government narrative and shit. Because the problem with that, it's not that I'm like bashing it, right? I'm for people having the government narrative if they want. That's their decision. The problem is that there is going to be an immense amount of people, more. People that push the government narrative are the minority, okay? So the majority opinion are the shadow banned opinions. And what Twitter has done for years is manipulate the way that an algorithm works so that you believe you're being served the popular thing when you're not. The popular thing is actually that shitty meme that kind of like pokes fun at the most bare degree, but shows a little bit of hypocrisy and is basically more funny than anything else. And if there was an actual algorithm working, you would serve that meme to more people, and then you would serve the other options to more people. And whichever one comes out on top goes up the rail until you get this giant viral thing. And it's usually really stupid. It's usually really dumb viral thing. But it can't be that way if at the base level you manipulate the algorithm. And that's what's happened since 2017. And I really hope that by Twitter doing this, and this is the thing, I don't want to start hoping. I've become extremely cynical since 2017. And it took years because I was so positive. And I was so, happy that when it took a lot for me to become cynical. It took years and years and years of example after example after example for me to become cynical. It wasn't just a month or a week. And the cynical part of me is saying, nothing good is going to come from Elon buying Twitter. The government's going to step in and take Twitter down before they're going to allow Twitter to be owned independently and then served to a fair. One thing about Elon Musk, right? There are people out there that like him, and there's people out there that don't. But Elon, in my opinion, really does just want a fair public square, right? Now, you could say, nuh-uh, he's buying the public square so that he can fuck it over. No, that's what already happened. Well, remember Jack Dorsey, the guy that made Twitter, he was about free speech. Twitter was about free speech. You could go out there and tweet what you wanted to tweet. And instead of them asking people's opinions for whether they felt something was hateful or not, they determined whether something was hateful or not based on the truth. And so there was an objective truth that backed what was happening. And Jack Dorsey was bought out. Just like, what's his name for Facebook was the robot from Facebook, the lizard robot was bought out. Zuckerbot. Just like Google was bought out. Just like YouTube was bought out. You get me? Let me give you an example really quick. So Activision and Blizzard, they were bought out. And they were bought out by some huge-ass government entity, and it went around buying up all the independent game companies. We all know this. It's why you've got Blizzard and Activision combined together. You know? And they basically serve China, which is really weird. But that doesn't matter. The point I'm making is the new Call of Duty just launched. I'm not going to talk about a video game. But this new Call of Duty launched, and there's a bunch of people complaining for good reason. Now, the whole game is stripped down. It doesn't have the bare essentials that it normally launches with, which obviously they plan to add as the game exists, right? And though they did add one thing, there's like 25 banners you can choose from, okay? 25 banners. There could be 30, there could be 50, but there's a number of banners, and there's only like 5 of them or something that you can go and pick that are just game oriented, like, oh, this is a video game, and these banners that are behind the name when it shows my name, if someone looks at my account, is video game related. And there's like 20% or 10%. There's like 5 of them. The other 80% are gay pride flags. You go to the gay pride. I just watched a YouTuber do this. You go to the gay pride, it'll say pride. So you've got banners, and underneath banners, there's a few categories, right? Each category has like 1 or 2 of them in there. And then under the pride banner, there's like 25. So it's like there's 10% normal banners, and then there's 90% there. And I don't care at all, okay? But I'm just telling you that the reason that it's like that is because they've been bought out, and this is the narrative. Now, by the way, I'm not homophobic or transphobic, and I'm all about anybody expressing themselves however they want to in the video game. My point is, though, that imagine if you can think back in the last 30 years, or if you've only been alive for 20 or whatever, your entire lifetime, if you think back, do you ever remember the current fucking thing that the government is trying to push, that the media is trying to push, inside of a video game or inside of every show or commercial? Do you ever remember that? You don't. Because the influence wasn't there. But there has to be an influence. There has to be an influence in order for it to be there. There in the big giant, most giant place, right? And that's the same everywhere. And that's why the censorship is where it is. When that happened in video games, when it happened in other big companies, when it happened with Disney and it happened with Marvel and it happened with Star Wars and it bought out, that is the exact time frame the censorship of the big tech platforms. What did they censor? That. So I don't have a lot of hope. I'm very cynical about Elon Musk buying Twitter, not because I doubt Elon Musk. All this shit talk against Elon Musk, go back 10 years ago and then look at what Elon Musk was doing, okay? And look at what he's tried to do his whole life. He ends up doing things that sometimes even don't make a profit because he thinks that it's a good thing to do, like going into space, having electric cars, whatever it may be. And I don't even agree with him on the electric car front. I say burn the fuck out of that oil. But the point is, regardless if I agree with Elon Musk, since he's taken over Twitter, there's already been massive changes to the way the algorithm serves information. And I've been tracking these algorithms since 2015 publicly and effectively, with the ability to predict what's going to happen and the ability, not in some major form, just to the same way that everyone else can. I'm not special. I'm just saying I'm proven. And I've been able to show you, yes, these things are going to be viral. These things are going to be popular. These things are this is what's happening in the algorithm today. Because if they literally, if you can go look at it. And I've told everybody what's been going on since 2017 when this happened. And at some point, it will reverse. I just don't think it's going to be in our lifetime. I hope that a billionaire could buy Twitter. He's already fired the safety exec, the guy that came after Jack Dorsey, that Indian guy, I forget his name. And the other person, I don't even know who the third person is. Now, you remember on Joe Rogan, Dorsey and the censorship officer went with him and talked to Tim Pool and Joe Rogan. The censorship officer that was with Dorsey is the one that got fired, along with the exec that replaced Dorsey and the other person. And there's a few things we've learned if you pay attention to the right truthful places on the internet, not the conspiracy places, the places that go off facts. Another thing we've learned about Musk taking over was that Twitter operates off of a number of people that are there for mechanical reasons to run the company. And then there's like 80% more people there that have all these weird job titles. Now, Musk talked about how he was going to fire the 80%. That's why. That 80%, it wasn't a random number that he was going to fire. You see, Twitter has hired 80% more people than it takes to run one of the biggest social media companies out there just to censor you and me and everyone else. And the funny thing is, the people that are on the quote-unquote other side that go with the narratives that don't get censored, if you're on that side, they get censored too. They just don't get censored about those topics. And that's the funniest thing. And people have started to figure this out. But this is what we were saying from the beginning. We were saying that censorship is personified hate. Other than the extremes that you have to, like people threatening people being directly racist and that kind of stuff. And no, using a certain word isn't being directly racist. I'm not talking about any specific word. I'm talking about all words in general. That's why you could see back on the early internet, or back on early Twitter, let's stick to Twitter, and not even early Twitter, but Twitter for the after 2017, before 2017, you could use certain words without being censored or being called a racist, because using a certain word doesn't make you a fucking racist. If it was true, then we wouldn't be allowed to say curse words, because curse words are used as personified anger and hatred at an extreme form. So if it was true that words can make you that, right? Because you could take the most racist person and have them go around saying, I love, and then whoever they're racist against, they say, I love that group of people. It's not true just because they said it. You could take the most least racist person and make them say, I hate Mexicans. It's not true. My point is, yeah, you might want to still ban someone that says I hate Mexicans or I hate and put a bad word there. Yeah, I agree. You should ban that. And I'm pro free speech. But my point is, just because you hold an opinion could mean that you're uneducated. It could mean that you are confused. It could mean that you're wrong. Like you're like, okay, so I could say, listen, this group of people shouldn't play in sports because of this reason. It doesn't mean you're fucking racist because you hold the opinion. And that's why it's so ridiculous for people to run in onto these platforms and say, if you type a certain thing, we're going to have to ban you, shadow ban you, or blah, blah, blah. Only in those very extreme circumstances should that be tolerated. A lot of people will just put it out as a joke. It's just a joke reaction. Oh no, everybody that uses 4chan actually is racist. What about the people on 4chan who are literally have boards devoted against racism? No, they're just lying in that instance. Exactly. So if they could be lying in that instance, then the people doing it on the other instance could, but still ban them. Ban the worst and allow all conversation on the rest. You can't have it anymore because they take what is the established narrative pushed by the government to an extreme. And then they say, we need to censor anyone that's against that government narrative. And they start with this. They start with what we've seen in the last 5 years. What happens 10 or 20 years later is they slowly move it over to where if you say, I don't like Joe Biden, you get banned and shadow banned. Or it could be Trump. I don't like Trump, you get banned or shadow banned. It doesn't matter what side. They start with the censorship because guess what? Censorship doesn't fix the problem. And the banning doesn't either. And that's why for all the entirety of the internet and humanity, you could say those things on there because it doesn't help to ban it. You've got a block button. If you don't like something, you can hit a block button, you know? So because you have a block button, you can say, I don't want to see that. And you can, make your experience tailored to what you want to see and what you don't want to see. Right? And if anything, they should allow an option. When you log onto Twitter, it's fully open. And for the people that don't want to see hateful stuff, they've got this little button you can click and it'll look for those words and not show it. It should be optional. There's only one reason censorship is used. Because it doesn't actually accomplish the thing they claim it's going to accomplish, that they're censoring. The one reason it's used is so they can move the censorship goalpost until they get it where they want it. And if you think about it, where would anyone actually want censorship like that? Because it's bad for companies. It's bad for business. Getting political is bad for business. It immediately cuts out half of the population from coming and shopping with you or doing whatever they're doing. Not having an idea like someone that sells PCs saying, I'm for free speech, getting political, getting up there and saying conservatives aren't welcome or Democrats aren't welcome or whatever it is, right? Now, my point is in the end, because of that, even saying that companies want censorship is a complete lie. Because of the nature of it, there's only one group that would ever want it. And it has to be political. So I don't know what's going to happen with Twitter. I don't know if it's going to be a good platform or not. But I know this. It's going to be better with Elon Musk. So what's possible? What can happen? Maybe they're going to delist Twitter from the App Store. Maybe they're going to, make Twitter, maybe they're going to give Twitter the Parler treatment. Do I really think that's going to happen? I doubt it, because it's too obvious. Now, if Elon Musk would have started his own network and allowed free speech just like all these other networks, yeah, they wouldn't allow it on the App Store. They would for a little bit, then they'd take it down. They'd knock it down for a period of time. They'd do everything they can that causes people a mass exodus to a different platform. Because once you do that once or twice to a growing platform, it's over. For the platform to become established, it has to grow and grow and grow and grow. And you knocking it down any peg at all during that growth is going to destroy it. And because they know that, it's why they do what they do. But to end my boring little ramble here, I'm already noticing that Twitter is allowing people to talk about the things that were previously banned. They're allowing the algorithm to serve those things. And that's pretty shocking, to be honest. It's pretty shocking. I'm going to restart this. I'm going to restart this on a different topic, but the future of human communication is on the line, right? And if Elon Musk does it right, there can be a huge comeback for everyone. It'll be a thing where anyone that wants to try has a chance. Again, Facebook is the most affected network, then it was Twitter, and then it was YouTube. So YouTube is the least affected, which means you still have a chance on YouTube, being yourself and being honest and being real. You still have a chance. You didn't really have a chance on Twitter, and you have no hope at all on Facebook. So now we've got Twitter at an equal level. Oh, no, Twitter, I think, is above YouTube right now, because YouTube's algorithm is still completely censored. Twitter's algorithm, I'm doing this stream because I just noticed over like a 48-hour period, Twitter's algorithm made a huge drastic change in how it serves controversial topics. I hope YouTube or a video hosting company of some kind also does that. Anyway, I had to warm myself up here for the next stream. I'm going to restart. So if you want to come to the next Twitter stream, it'll be in like a minute. I'm just going to restart.